Chelsea Grin is easily one of the biggest deathcore bands out there, with over 500,000 monthly listeners. But did you know that they started very early on, back in the MySpace good old days? They sure went through a lot as a band, but today, I'm here to cover their second rise in the scene, which of course started when Tom Barber officially joined the band. So my friend, as usual, grab a cup of coffee, cigarette, banana split, whatever you feel like as we explore the second part of the Chelsea Grin story. Real quick, if you didn't join our Discord, the link is in the description. We also have a live deathcore podcast on Twitch every Wednesday. As you can see, the merch is coming along quite nicely. I'm very excited about that. And if you want to know more about the Alex Kohler era, the first part of the Chelsea Grin story, I made a video about it. With all that being said, let's start the video. So the second era of Chelsea Grin basically started when Alex Kohler had to quit due to some personal issues, and Tom Barber from Lorna Shore had to replace him as their new vocalist. Of course, it was a big deal for their fans, including myself, because his work on the self-titled EP and what he did on the Self-Inflicted album is still very underrated in my opinion, and incredibly good. This particular situation is quite special because usually when a band announces a new vocalist or any lineup changes basically, it's very rarely accepted or welcomed by the metal community. Most people are very unhappy and very loud about it. I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about here. But in this case, since Tom Barber has such a cult following and was beloved and respected, the fact that Alex Kohler was struggling and it's hard to explain, but people were more intrigued and excited to hear the new Chelsea Grin sound instead of hating and being mad, which was a new thing. Also, another thing that I believe is worth mentioning is the fact that at this point, they were a four-piece, which for Chelsea Grin was new because I think we all remember the era in which they had like 3 guitar players, you know, the big lineup and all that. So I believe it also contributed to being perceived as a new era for Chelsea Grin. And talking about a new era, in April 2018, the band officially released their first video featuring Tom Barber for their song called Dead Rose. Alright, so first I think it's a great song. It was the perfect way to introduce Tom Barber to the band in my opinion. He was very versatile on it, very, you know, matching the intensity of the song, which was surprising because Chelsea Grin on the Self-Inflicted, the album right before this one, was more beat down, you know, down tempo and stuff like that. And on this song, they went back to their roots, you know, very deathcore and melodic, even almost sounding death metal on some parts, which made it interesting. And I mean, at this point, people were just excited to see what they would do next, which, my friends, brings us to July 2018. Yeah, I looked in my script. When Chelsea Grin officially released their new album called Eternal Nightmare. super interesting album, all over the place in the best way possible, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is you go from a song like Across the Earth to another song like See You Soon, and I mean, Across the Earth was like super melodic and like with classic piano, almost death metal. And then you go and See You Soon, and it's like very electronic and modern, almost sounding like Immure or something like that. So this album doesn't really have like a whole vibe to it. It has like a lot of different vibes, which makes it surprising and fun. And Tom vocals, of course, are great. He's very good at matching the vibe of each song. If you listen to the album, you're gonna notice that he's very different on each part, you know, and he's a great songwriter, I think, also. And yeah, it's basically just a super great album, and the fans were super happy as well. I was reading the comments, people were hopeful and glad that they picked Tom as the new vocalist. Just overall, very positive. My personal favorite song on this album has to be Hostage. It's so crazy and intense the whole time. It reminded me of Darko, which of course makes sense since Tom Barber is a part of it. And the cool thing is, they made an official video for it. The concept is quite simple. You see the band playing under the rain. At the same time, there's a girl being held hostage and she's struggling, and it's quite graphic. She ends up taking her own life. But the thing is, as she's doing that, the rain turns into blood covering the whole band. It was a cool concept. I personally enjoyed it. The album itself was very well received. As you can see, it charted quite a lot, which was a great indicator that Chelsea Grin was heading in the right direction. And I really have to say, it felt like Tom Barber was bringing them to the next level. Speaking of which, in 2018, they were killing it live.
Let's go!
At the end of the summer, they did an interview in which they explained what happened with all the lineup changes.
Our guitar player Jake has 2 kids, and after his second child, he just decided that he needed to be home with his family.
Okay.
And we've all been doing it long enough that it's nobody can hold it against him. You know, our other guitar player Dan, he's in his second year of medical school.
Oh wow,
He's going to be a doctor. Nobody
Nice.
can hold that against him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, AK's taking time off for his health. You know, nobody can hold that against him. So
Yeah.
everybody's happy. Everybody's doing something good. You know.
Yeah.
During the same interview, Tom Barber explained how he felt, you know, replacing Alex, filling up those big shoes.
I was just really nervous because, you know, obviously I'm not Alex. You know, they have a lot of dedicated fans, and you know, there's always going to be that worry. And luckily for me, I just feel like it all kind of went away after like a month or two. But I feel good now. It was definitely very nerve-wracking.
You feel welcomed by the fan base and everything?
Yeah, everybody's pretty cool now. Everyone's just like, yeah, I was nervous, but now it's like it's pretty sick.
I really love how happy they seem to be, and you can clearly see the connection between them after only a few months, which to me was very wholesome and impressive even. But yeah, the thing is, as much as most of the fans were happy, of course there was a few exceptions.
So many people DM'd him talking shit to him for so long.
Okay.
That he stopped looking at his DMs.
Well,
and that
without
makes
looking
me
at the
laugh.
DMs and stuff, name one on the spot. What's the most like
A good one?
vulgar or good DM that anyone's ever told you?
You should kill yourself.
I mean, that sucks, but I mean that's like the most basic.
Another one was, first my dog died this morning and now this.
Okay, while we're here, people, please stop doing that. Like, sending those messages to artists simply because you don't like them or you disagree or whatever. Words like that are very strong and honestly kind of psychotic or something. Like, telling someone to end their life is a big thing to say. Like, keep in mind, they're people, they're regular people. You see them on the stage, you see them in official videos and stuff like that, but they're human beings with feelings, and the last thing we want in our scene is to have like this kind of stuff happening, people ending their life like this. These are big tragedies, and I don't want to start a whole thing. It's blowing my mind in the worst possible way that messages like that even happen. So yeah, like, stop doing that. So anyway, 2018 was a very big year for Chelsea Grin. Not only did they welcome Barber in the band, the new lineup and whatnot, but they were also featured on tons of cool stuff during the release, like interviews, as I said, Bus Invaders, stuff like that. They were bigger than they ever were before. It was a big deal. 2019 was kind of the same thing, big tours, writing music. Unfortunately, as we all know, the pandemic happened in 2020, but it didn't stop the band at all, because during the summer, they came back with a brand new single called Bleeding Sun. It was a great song with a cool meaning behind it, telling people to wake up and realize in which world we're living in. The lyrics that really stood out to me were murderers, slavers, demon in suit. I don't know, I thought it was clever and catchy. The video concept was a visualizer, quite simple but effective and cool nonetheless. Then in November, they released another video for a new song called Blind Kings. This video is legendary. I mean, who doesn't love a classic cowboy action kind of video, right? And the thing is, people don't realize, but it's a lot of work and preparation to do a video like that. I mean, for the band, but also the whole production behind it. I don't think people even realize, but I don't know. I appreciate the effort, I guess, behind it. They also made it funny, you know, like kind of not taking themselves too seriously the whole time, which makes it even better in my opinion. Musically, it was great, but I don't know, it wasn't as memorable as Hostage or See You Soon and stuff like that. It's not because it's not good, I think it's simply because maybe it was a little less intense and crazy. I don't know. That being said, it was great. Both songs were awesome and everybody was happy. That's the important thing. In 2021, during the pandemic, Pablo officially started to distance himself from Chelsea Grin, unfortunately. He said he had other commitment with another artist, which by now we all know was Alex Kohler and his former bandmate Jacob, which I'm sure he was happy about. It was another project called Emeona, and for some reason I thought it would be some very old school deathcore, but they ended up doing something very second wave of deathcore, if you will, symphonic and modern. objectively, it sounds great. Good production, excellent songwriting. Alex's vocals were insane. He sounds very unique. I think I said it in the first part of the Chelsea Grin story, but I don't know. I was kind of hoping for something like that. That being said, I'm probably not the best reference for that. Like, I might be a little too obsessed with this EP. But yeah, anyway, during the summer of 2022, the band announced something very special, a double album. And it's a concept split in two, and it was this whole thing. And yeah, that's when they released a brand new video for a song called Origin of Sin. This one was a little more intense, still very modern and symphonic, melodic and all that. Tom's vocals were just absolutely insane once again. And as for the video concept, it was pretty cool. It's about the fact that we've been lied to ever since we're born, and it goes beyond that. It's even like as the human race itself, like what's our origin, what did we forget, and whatnot. My favorite lyrics were, "From the Egyptian times to the modern rule, we ask for truth, but we're only fooled." I don't know, I thought it sounded catchy and cool. And yeah, the fans were super excited to hear the new material, which brings us to November 2022, when Chelsea Grin officially released their brand new album called Suffer in Hell. Objectively, this was a great album, very technical and melodic and all that. I'm saying objectively simply because it's not my favorite. Like, I'm not that much into this one. It sounded way more death metal, even the vocals, surprisingly. And not that I don't like death metal, don't get me wrong. My favorite band, as I said very often, is Cattle Decapitation. As for my preference in death metal, and Terracide is, to me, a freaking masterpiece, one of the best albums ever released. But in this case, we're talking about Chelsea Grin, so it was lacking the intensity and craziness of the band. If that makes sense, it's okay if it's your favorite or something, but to me, it was lacking something. It wasn't the memorable Chelsea Grin vibe that we usually get. That being said, it was very well received. Fans were mostly happy about it, saying it was good. And yeah, then they released a second video for the song called Isness. Very cool video. I think they chose well. I mean, this was one of the best songs in my opinion on this album, and the concept is about your soul being everything, and you see entities surrounding the band. Another cool concept. Shout out to everybody involved in the production. Once again, incredible. And yeah, I love how Tom is spiritual in his lyrics. It's very refreshing. You could maybe argue that some other people are doing it. I just think he's very original in the way he's writing his lyrics and the meaning behind it. It's very deep and emotional and interesting. And so they didn't stop there. They released a third video for one of my favorite song on this album, and by far my favorite video concept. For the song called Forever Bloom. Okay, a D&D video? Come on, of course I'm gonna love it. I like when bands are doing like a funny, less serious video with a super intense, dramatic song, like creates this cool contrast, and I don't know, it's something I've always appreciated, especially in metal. And so, yeah, the concept is cool, the song is great. It was also featuring Trevor Sternad of the Black Dahlia Murder. Absolute legend. Rest in peace. At this point, Chelsea Grin was getting more popular by the day. It was crazy. And I gotta say, even if Tom Barber wasn't there in the early days of the band and all that, he was killing it with the classic songs. How awesome was that? Come on. Anyway, as I said earlier, this album was a double album concept. So in March 2023, Chelsea Grin officially released the second part called Suffer in Heaven. This album is a freaking masterpiece. It's so sick, incredible. And you know what? Everything I didn't like about Suffer in Hell is everything I love about Suffer in Heaven. It's so crazy and intense and, you know, full of surprises. It's modern deathcore at its peak. I can't believe that how much I slept on this one. I just listened to it as I was making the video, and it's one of my favorite discoveries ever since I started the channel. I'm not kidding. It's wild. And it was so crazy that, again, it was reminding me of Darko, which I believe is one of the best bands out there. Tom's vocals, once again, were absolutely top tier. There's not a single thing I would change. The patterns, the emotion, the lyrics. By the way, he's one of the best lyricists in the game, I believe. Don't come after me for that. It's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I'm a big fan of what he's writing and the way he sounds and all that. Doing the Lorna Shore video, and now that I'm doing this one, it just increased my respect even more, and yeah, I'm a fan now, so there you go. In terms of official video, they released one for their song called Fathomless Ma.
Who could not prevail, but inevitably they fail.
Another very cool concept. You see someone being stuck in the same routine, eating the same meal, going to the same old job, with a very annoying boss that he ultimately ends up murdering. You gotta give it to Chelsea Grin. They always have some great concept for their videos, and I could be wrong, but I believe Tom is a big part of that. If you remember in my Lorna Shore video, I was saying the same things pretty much, and I don't know, I sincerely think that he's a big part of the creative process, if that makes sense. Anyway, My favorite song by far on this album is Soul Slave. It's crazy and it looks like it's absolutely insane live. Wow, man. I really want to see that in person. I've never seen Chelsea Grin since Tom is in the band, and it makes me realize that I've been missing out a lot. As you probably already know, it was announced very recently in April this year that Pablo, their former drummer, of course, and Nathan Pearson, I'm just realizing that I forgot to mention him. A very talented drummer. He replaced Pablo for, the recent shows and everything you've seen pretty much for the last 2 albums. I don't know why I forgot to mention him. It was in my script somewhere. Sorry about that. Anyway, they officially announced that both drummers wouldn't be in the band anymore, and it would be Josh Miller, who was in such amazing bands. Like, he was in Spide and Emure and even currently in Darko. I mean, how cool is that? Imagine how happy Tom must be right now to know that basically Darko is half of Chelsea Grin now. I won't lie, I love Darko. So if Chelsea Grin is gonna sound a little more like Darko, I won't be mad about that, to say the least. Time will tell, I guess. And that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I had a blast doing this video. I finally done a part 2 on my channel. Only took almost a year, but I did it. Anyway, if you want to support me as usual, please leave a like and subscribe. Don't forget to join our Discord if you didn't already. We always have our live podcast every week on Wednesday with amazing guests from all your favorite band. You don't want to miss that. And as for the merch, as I said, it's coming along nicely. Super excited. I'm gonna keep you updated. And yeah, again, I know I said it in every video, but thank you so much. Still can't believe the amount of people following me and commenting and hearing me destroying the English language, which, I do all the time. I appreciate you all. And I tried something a little different today, as you might have noticed. Longer takes. I'm being a little more myself. Let me know if it's cool or not. I really don't mind constructive criticism, whatever. And yeah, so I'll see you in the next one.